Jeff, we have about 15 minutes left, more or less. How can I be of service to you today?
Hello, Neil.
Hi, Jeff.
Thank you for hosting this and having us. It's an honor and a blessing.
Well, it is for me too. I've enjoyed the hell out of it. That is to say, I've enjoyed the hell right out of it.
So
How can
just
I
just
serve you?
well, first of all, I just want to say I wasn't rolling my eyes at you. I promise.
I'm just having fun with you, Jeff. I'm just having fun with you.
Okay, I'm here with Farhana, and she was sitting across from me, and we were talking while we're both watching your video.
Well, if I was sitting across from Farhana, I'd be rolling my eyes every 5 minutes. But Farhana, I mean, but Jeff, how can I serve you? In what way could I be of service to you today?
So we've been having some relationship difficulties, and so I don't think the timing of this is a coincidence at all. I suppose the difficulty lies in, I guess the way she would describe it is I don't have enough gusto, like, or drive. And that's been a huge thing recently. She has this core of.
I would rather not have you describe her. She's right here.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
If you want to put her on at the same time, we can bring Farhana on at the same time with you, if that serves the moment. But it seems to me that would be a better way than having you describe her to me.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I just didn't know.
Farhana, is it okay with you if you're both on at the same time? Okay. Then let me ask our producer, Nick, who's my son and does all of it. Look, as fast as I say it, he does it. So now here we have Farhana and Jeff at the same time. So Farhana, usually when people have relationship challenges, it's because somebody is not getting something they want. When people are getting what they want, they rarely have relationship challenges. Is that fair so far? Okay. So Farhana, what is it that you want that you're not getting, that you're not experiencing? You want Jeff to be more get up and go, to have him be more filled with whatever kind of energy that he doesn't have? Are you supporting him? Do you pay his rent and give him food and take care of him financially?
You need to be unmuted, I can't.
She's on mute.
No.
I can't actually unmute both of you because you're in the same room. So if you just speak loud enough so that Jeff's microphone picks you up. Oh, that works as well.
So Farhana, do you support Jeff? Do you pay his bills and pay his rent?
No.
No. So he pays his own bills. He pays his own rent.
Yeah, we live separately right now.
Oh, but even when you were you ever living together?
No, we've been talking about living together, but both of us are. The way I describe it is, we're kind of mirroring. So whatever I complain about Jeff, and I tell him this all the time, is that whatever, like our lifestyle right now, and not being able to live together because we're going to be asked if we have jobs and a stable income. I said the way we're continuing on right now is just not going to put us in a place that we talk about wanting to be in. And so,
well, you clearly don't want to be in it, or you'd be in it. Obviously, Jeff does not want to live with you, or he would live with you by Monday. See, if you want to know what
he actually spends a lot of time where I live right now. So he had moved to Houston because he lost his job because of COVID, and so he had to move to Houston where his family lives. And so now, so he visits very frequently, and I live in an apartment in Dallas. But we've been talking about moving in together.
Well, then why don't you?
all because we don't have an income to show any stability in like a stability in income to show any landlords that we would be able to pay rent.
Wait a minute, you're already living in the apartment.
So I live in the apartment. It's a very small apartment. It's a 2-bedroom that I live in with my son. And so it's a very, very small space. So we would have to move into a bigger space so that all of us could be comfortable.
No, only after a little while. If you really wanted to live together, you guys are going to have to excuse me. I know I make things very simple, and sometimes I try to make things, I see things very simply. So please forgive me if you think that I'm oversimplifying. But let me just say this much from what I see. You don't have to change, you don't have to prove anything for the next immediate future. Your landlord wouldn't say you can't have a guest in your house. If I came to Houston, if I came to Dallas and I wanted to spend some time there, and you said, Neil, I just really love your teachings. I've read all your books. You're a really interesting guy. If you would like to, you can stay at my house for the next month or two. Would the landlord say, no, he can't?
It's not so much the restriction of the landlord. Obviously, no, the landlord would not say that we can't have guests. He spends a considerable amount of time week after week here, which is
then he can move in with you immediately, and then use the next 2 or 3 or 4 months to create a situation where you could move to a larger place, where you could say to the new landlord, or maybe even this landlord has larger units, to be able to say to a landlord, hey, we're living together. We both have incomes. We both have a stable, relationship. And is that the only thing that's keeping you apart?
No, it's not. It's more than that. I mean, just the space is really small, and so it's myself and Jeff and his son, and my son would have to be and a dog in 700 square feet of space. It just drives me absolutely bonkers. And we are I am kind of overpaying right now the rent just because of the area of Dallas that I live in. And so, it would be nice to be able to move away into a bigger space and pay less rent. But I guess the challenge that I've been having with Jeff is that he talks a lot about what he would love to do with his life or accomplish in his life, but I just don't see any action behind it.
So I got it.
It becomes very challenging because Jeff is a writer just like I am, and Jeff is actually a phenomenal writer. And I just feel that
Jeff, are you a phenomenal writer?
Not too bad.
Okay, go ahead, Farhana.
And so the perspective I'm trying to come from, and I'm trying to be very mindful in terms of like not coming off as judging him, but being a partner that's really trying to push him and encourage him to go from I ought to do this to I am taking action behind it. And I think you mentioned earlier, it's not so much about, for me, it's not so much about how much money somebody has in the bank account, but it's about how hard they work towards accomplishing their dreams, about moving towards their dreams. But then it becomes difficult because I go into myself and think, at what point am I being someone who's judging? Because we talked about kind of just accepting that this person, and I said this to Jeff like a couple of days ago, I have to come to terms with one of two things. Either one, I don't accept you for how things are going, and I'm judging that, and I'm going to say, well, we're going to break up, or we're going to take a break, or whatever. If I come from judgment towards myself, then there's this like, well, you're judging me or not accepting me, and I'm like, that's not what I'm doing, or at least I hope that's not the way I'm coming. What I'm trying to say is that, can you take some necessary steps right now to help change your situation? And as I'm doing.
Well, if I was Jeff and I loved you, and if I was Jeff and I loved being with you, and I don't want to not be in a relationship with you, if I was Jeff and I was loving you and wanting to continue my relationship with you, you know what I would say if you told me that? I would say, tell me what it is that I'm not doing. I mean, specifically, don't be general, like you're not following your dream. Tell me specific things that you think I could do that could help me achieve my dreams? What would you say, Farhana, if I said that to you? Give me two or three things.
So, for example, one of the things I said to him was, right, because he's in the landman business, so oil and gas. He's a landman, and there aren't many positions available right now, and that's why he lost his opportunity like a year ago. And so but he also has told me that wasn't a fulfilling job. So I give him ideas about what other options he can take. But he'll kind of say, yeah, okay, that's a great idea, or he'll be like, okay, we're going to do this. And that fire lasts like a whole of 5 minutes. And so I asked him yesterday, I said, did you look for jobs? How many job applications did you do? And like, he did nothing. And so from I ought to, I'm like, you haven't done any job applications. And maybe he has plans for the future, or he's writing his novel and that will take some time. But I'm like, we need a game plan now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and by the way, writing a novel doesn't mean you can't do it. He already shook his head, so he knows where I'm going to go. You can write a half hour a day or an hour a day. You can even write 2 hours a day and still have an 8-hour a day job. Believe me, I've done it. So I know, so it's not about the book.
Well, just to be clear, I've never expressed that, like, I just want to write a book and not get a job.
Right, we got it. What you have expressed is that she has a good idea. That's a good idea. Hey, Farhana, that's a good idea. How about if I do nothing about it? Hey, we should probably have a game plan. I agree with you, Farhana. We should have a game plan. How about if I do nothing about it? No, I'm not saying that I just want to write a book and I want to do nothing else. I'm just doing nothing else for no reason. Not because I want to write a book. I'm just doing nothing else. I'm not applying for jobs, and I keep telling you, you've got some good ideas, but I don't do anything about it. So am I describing the situation fairly as older brother to younger brother, or am I exaggerating?
I think in a way, I mean, I've never been shy about working. It's just, as a matter of fact, as a landman, I've worked very hard. I did that for the past 11 years.
Yeah, we're not talking about then, we're talking about now.
I guess maybe I'm just a little...
Yeah, I'm listening.
Frustrated and confused. And
what are you confused about? Frustrated, I get. Confused about, I wonder about. I'd be frustrated too.
Because
what are you confused about?
I mean, before, I guess whenever I was working, she had issues with me because I was doing something that I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't like my life purpose. It didn't feel like it was like a job I wasn't too happy with. And so she would push me to, do more things that
you'd be happy with.
Yeah. And I appreciate that on the one hand, but on the other hand, sometimes it would feel like almost like it was like this criteria of the relationship that I would have to be that person,
if I was your couple counselor, and I should be, we should be together on Monday night, or you should just get on a Zoom call with me, the two of you. By the way, thank you both for being so transparent, for being willing to be on the same screen together. And there were only, let's see, 1,250 people in 47 countries listening to this, so there's no problem. Just kidding. Just kidding. But if I was doing couple counseling, I'd be saying things to both of you. Like I'd be saying, why don't you strike a deal? Well, first of all, I'd start here. Do you guys really want to be together? I mean, truly, not because you are, or because the kids enjoy being with all of you, or any of that. Do you both? Is it your desire to create a lifelong relationship from now until one of you dies? That's a yes or no question. You can't, and I don't, it's yes for you, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Farhana, what is your answer?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we are both playing with the same deck. Fair enough, we both have the same deck of cards. Now, if that's the case, I'd be looking at Farhana if she said that to me, and I'd say, Farhana, let me see if I understand. Let's make a deal. One of the reasons I'm reluctant to just get any old job, even if it's a job I don't like, is that sometimes if you see me not happy at work, you push me to get a job that would make me happier as a person, and it would be more in my wheelhouse, make me happier as an individual. How about we play a game? How about we sign a contract? Here's the contract. I will take any old job that comes along. You keep on asking me, did you go out and apply for a job? Did you go out and apply for a job? Did you go out and apply for a job? I will actually go out and apply for a job just in the short term, not something I'm going to do for the rest of my life, but something I could do for like right now, for a few months, maybe even for a whole year, God forbid. But, I'm willing to go out and get a job, but you have to promise me. We sign a contract. If I do that and create greater stability in our relationship, the price you have to pay is not a word. Read my lips, Farahana. Not one word about how I should be doing this or should be doing that, and then I'd even be happier. Or why am I doing something that I'm not happy with? You would have to get off of the game of not being satisfied no matter what I do. If I get a job I don't like, to create better stability in the relationship, then you need to let that be what I'm doing for now. And if I want your support, if I want your emotional support to find something more in alignment with my soul, I will ask for it. I will sit down with you and say, gosh, I'm feeling kind of frustrated I don't want to continue doing this crazy job for the rest of my life. Let's talk about what else I might be able to do. Or, for that matter, I will finish my book. I'll just do this job for 6 or 8 or 9 months. And by November, I'll be done with my book. And I'll send it to a couple of publishers. And I'll send it to a couple of agents, literary agents. And we'll see where that goes from there. See, it doesn't have to be this or that. It can be both. But I can understand if I was Jeff, I can totally understand if I go out and get some kind of a meaningless job for the next 9 months. And then you're telling me at night, man, you shouldn't be,
That's not what I'm doing.
No.
Okay, good.
That's not exactly what I'm doing.
So I just want to clarify, because I think how Jeff explained it, it sounded to me, and it obviously has sounded to you also, like I was hard on him for getting a quote unquote meaningless job. I didn't even understand what the landman work entailed until Jeff explained it to me, and I still don't think I entirely understand it. But it was his frustrations that he brought to me, that I've been doing this for 12 years or so, and I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, well, that's fair, but that was then and this is now.
Right.
I don't want to hear any more about yesterday's story.
Sure. So I understand it, but at this point, that's exactly what I'm saying to him. Almost like you and I are both in a situation where, yes, we're not getting the ideal job, but even like an $11 an hour job is still going to bring us from $0 to $11 an hour. And so I'm doing that myself, and I'm trying to find opportunities myself of just anything. I told him the other day, I listed a bunch of jobs that I was like, I might probably need to wipe someone's butt doing this, but it's fine, and I said to him, as purpose is something that we chase after, but purpose is right now would be finding something that pays our bills, and that serves a purpose.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you, Jeff? Is she saying something that is not what she always says?
No, that makes sense.
Well, then what's the problem? What stops you from doing it?
I guess. Yeah, I was waiting for the industry to bounce back.
No. That's not the question.
I understand. It just.
Because if the industry bounces back,
I feel like
you can quit your job. You can quit your other job and go back to the industry.
Well, that's true. I guess I'm just feeling a lot of anxiety.
So being without any income at all is
Well,
less anxiety than.
No, that's created a lot of anxiety too.
Okay, so you forgive me, my brother, but you're not making sense. Yeah. And I'm sure that if Farahana was, when she gets off the air, she'll say, "See, I told you."
No, she's not like that.
You know, my frustration comes from that. And then, Neil, I just get so super reactive and I tell him, listen, I'm just not going to dish it out on a silver platter. You know, I'm just not, because I don't understand what the block is. You know, I don't understand. And that's what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to ask and get a response. Yeah, you know, what is the block? Why have you not put in any resumes all week?
I hear you. And if I was doing couple counseling, I would just challenge Jeff.
And I appreciate you challenging me. I'm cool with that. I guess it's kind of a weird situation. And I guess maybe I'm having a hard time figuring out how to go about it because I did move to Houston. I was in Dallas, but I did move to Houston. She's in Dallas. My son, because of COVID, is doing online schooling. His mom lives in Fort Worth, which is next to Dallas. So that, because he's doing online schooling and his mom's here, that affords me to be able to come up here for a few weeks and let him spend time with his mom. And Farhana and I spend time together. But it's kind of like, as far as getting a job, like I was, it's like I was trying to find some like online remote work, and
which you could do from Dallas.
But I don't. Well, I mean, I guess because of the living situation, should I try to get a job in Dallas? Should I just get a job in Houston and then quit it and move to Dallas? Or
I think it's kind of what the young lady said a couple of calls before. I forget her name, but she had a very sweet British accent with the guy who's kind of like in and out. Is that, don't base, right now we're in a situation where we just kind of both have to boot up our straps and just work hard, save money for a future. And that shouldn't be jeopardized by the physical proximity of where we are. Dallas and Houston is not so far away.
But that confuses me because you've said to me, she said, don't decide where to live based on where I live.
Right.
And yet, we were just talking about moving in together like not too long ago.
But we're not in the position to do that right now.
Let me solve this because I'm hearing you both. First of all, in Houston, Jeff, do you live by yourself? Do you live with your mommy?
No, I moved in with my parents to kind of help out with my son. I've been raising him for the past 5 years by myself.
Is there a way for you to get an apartment of your own, or is and now I get the picture. You're living with your parents, so you have no expenses. I mean, you don't have to pay rent for an apartment.
Well, I mean, I give them some money to help out, but I don't have the same level of expenses that I would.
If you came to Dallas. Yeah. Okay. So what stops you from getting why is the answer no when Farahana says, did you apply for a job? Did you apply for a job? Did you apply for a job? What stops you from getting a job in Houston that would allow you to spend some quality time with Farahana in Dallas occasionally, just as you're doing now, but that would allow you to save money and build up a bank account so that in, let's pretend, 7 or 8 or 9 months, so that by the end of the year or so, you could then, in fact, because you'd have enough money, and then you could see if there's a possibility of getting the same kind of job in Houston, in Dallas. Or second possible solution, what stops you from moving to Dallas and and being in a small place with Farahana for just a short time, because if you and finding a job, or at least looking for a job in Dallas before you move, and if you get a job in Dallas, then move to Dallas, where your child's mother is, she would appreciate having a closer proximity to him. You could then work at your job for a few months, and then you and Farahana could get a bigger place. Either one of those solutions could work. But right now she is saying to you, have you applied for a job? Did you apply for a job? Did you apply for a job? And you're saying, well, no, well, no, well, no. It's a good idea. You say to her, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. But you don't take any action. So what is puzzling to me is the same thing that's puzzling to Farahana. We both are puzzled by the same question. Why aren't you doing something, taking some immediate action, like in the next 10 days, to solve this problem one way or the other? Why aren't you doing it? And if your answer is, let me see if I can do a good imitation. This is Neil's imitation of Jeff. Your answer is, well, it's kind of complicated. It's back then, my story, when I had my thing, and I didn't want to, so why am I not doing it now? Don't ask me that, because the truth is, I don't have a damn answer. I don't know why I'm not doing it now.
Neil, I love you to bits so much, but your imitation right now it triggers me the way I get triggered, and I just want to upside on the head pour this guy like that, and I just want to upside like one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, which is you and him. But I'm just like, how do you? And then what happens? And Temine actually, she said, because she saw us both on the laptop, and she knows both of us, through your calls. By the way, I've met such a great soul. And so Temine is like, you guys are so cute. She goes, you're in the same place, but you're on your different computers. And I forget the exact way she said it. She's like, you're coming from the same place on different laptops. And I was like, God has spoken some very seriously deep words through you right now. And she's like, no, I was just meaning your laptop. And I said, no, what it is that we come from the same place, which is love. That's what brings us together. I just would like to see my partner kind of gouge out his beautiful path. Like you have this beautiful path, M has this beautiful path. You support one another, but you're still light, like you're still parallel lights. I just want that, because what ends up happening is then he's trying to come into my lane, telling me how to do my books and how to do this and how to do that. I'm trying to come into his lane saying, you need to apply for your jobs. And we're constantly bickering about these things where we can just celebrate the individuality of who we are and do that together. And he can come and say, this is how my day went. This is what happened at work. And what do you think about this? And I want to do the same. I don't want him like in my space. And I hate the way I'm showing up in this relationship. It's driving me bananas. Like I feel like I'm this constant nag, but then I'm not trying to be a nag. I said, because he's like has a stirring of discomfort in the landman work. And I said that discomfort is very important, because that discomfort, Max, please, is a gentle tapping on the door about, hey, are you feeling uncomfortable yet? Because maybe you can do something more fulfilling. Then he meets me, and I don't plate things pretty on a plate all the time. And I can be kind of harsh. And so, but I'm like, is that a louder invitation? Don't take it as a judgment. Because then I was asking him during the break, is it possible? Then I was like, maybe we need a break from each other. And that's not to say that I don't love him or that he doesn't love me. What I'm trying to say is maybe we come to a point where it's not judgment, but just right at this point in our lives, in our soul's progression, maybe right now is just not the right time. And maybe he needs to discover more and I need to discover more. I don't know. I don't like the way I'm showing up, Neil, at all.
I don't like what? What was the last sentence?
I don't like the way I'm showing, like, I don't like the fact that I get frustrated. I don't like how I'm talking to him.
Yeah,
I just don't like that. That's just ugly, Okay. And I'm not trying to be. I just want him to just see his light.
Well, then say in a non-ugly way, sweetheart, you say you want to stay in relationship with me. You can hear my needs. You can hear my desires. Either respond to my needs and my desires in a way that serves us both, or don't. And I'm not going to say that in an angry way. There's no anger in my voice. I'm not an unkind person. But the choice is really very simple. And if I was doing couple counseling with both of you, I'd be looking at Jeff saying, Jeff, this is a really simple situation. This is really very simple. Either get a job and begin to show a real interest in saving enough money that you can start a life together, or don't. But don't come up with all kinds of stories about yesterday. Well, Neil, you don't understand. When I was in the landmine business, in the mineland business, who cares? I'm not even impressed. The issue is that was then and this is now. Either you demonstrate that you are sincere in wanting to create a long-term stable relationship with Farahana, and you do what it takes, or you don't. It's really pretty simple. I mean, in the short term. I wouldn't want to sign you up for the next 50 years with something that you absolutely hate, but I mean in the short term, as a short-term solution to create a long-term relationship. So this is really very simple, and we're really discussing nothing. Either Jeff wants it or he doesn't. You know.
What I said earlier is that to him, I said, listen, it is not my place, or it's not appropriate for me to kind of dictate to you. If you're not ready, that has to be something I need to accept and say, you know what, he's not ready, and that's fine. That was a question that I had my hand raised for, is it possible in a relationship, if we've shared obviously a romantic relationship and two people are in different places, and it's not judgment, it's just recognizing that what this person wants out of their life right now versus what the partner wants in their partner right now it's just not matching. And so that's okay. We can continue a friendship with each other. We can continue to love each other. It just means that it's not judgment. It just, that relationship is going to now shift and evolve in a different way. I still love him.
Well, you're very clear. And I hear your clarity, and I don't hear it as judgment either. It's really very simple. Guys, it's really very simple. Love is as love does. Excuse me, but love is as love does. And it's really, you know, and I can give myself all the reasons in the world that I don't want to do what my darling would like me to do in order for her to be not so unhappy, especially if it had to do with the stability of our relationship. But there are only two questions to ask in any relationship. Where am I going? Who's going with me? And I'm afraid you guys have reversed the questions. Who's going with me? Now where am I going? And you've reversed the questions. The questions are, where am I going? Now, who's going with me? Do not change the order of the questions. And changing the order of the questions does not mean you don't love each other. It just means that, you know, one or the other of you is unwilling to make the kind of adaptation and to demonstrate it in action, not just talk about it, but actually do it. One of you is not willing to make the adaptation that is clearly required for the two of you to begin to establish and create the foundation for an ongoing long-term relationship. It's really quite simple. If I can help you in any other way, let me know. Show up on Monday night. Farahana, drag him, you know, if he's around, unless he's out looking for work or has actually found a job that he hates, and then he can.
You dragged him the other day. Remember, he was in the kitchen, and then he's like that guy, and then he came and said hi to you. That was
I remember that. Now that you mention it, yeah. So he can even find a job in Houston temporarily and get on his computer, and you can get on your computer, and you can be together on a Monday night if you want to. But the solution to this is really very simple. It's quite simple. And if I was in a relationship with you, Farahana, I couldn't ask you to be more clear, or frankly, more non-mean. You're not a mean person. As Jeff himself has said, no, that's not how she is. That's not how she is. I can see how she is. And she's not mean, but she is frustrated. And she's needs to see some movement on your part that would allow her to see that you mean it when you say you want to create a process by which you can move to greater stability in your long-term relationship. I get it. I totally get it.
My 9-year-old made us do a really interesting activity yesterday. We were all sitting at the dinner table and he had heard Jeff and I like bickering all day pretty much. He was so sick of it and he was so mad. He came to the dinner table and he's like, okay, guys. He's like, just stop. First of all, say sorry to each other and then let's play a game. We're like, okay, what's the game? And he goes, whoever is sitting across from each other has to guess what the other person is feeling. I was like, wow, thanks God. Wow.
So it's like, okay, Mom, guess what Jeff was feeling. And he's like, okay, Jeff, guess what Mom's feeling. And so then we had to describe what each other was feeling. And the kids just next level.
Are you kidding me?
Emotionally intelligent.
By the way,
9 years old.
I get it. What's his name?
His name's Elion, and I have to figure out a way to send you this video that he sent. We've applied for him to go to an all-boys private school, and he was supposed to talk about a book that he liked and what are some of the takeaways from the book. Neil, you have to see how he presented about the little soul and the sun. It was so beautiful. He is such a wise soul. It's remarkable.
I hadn't wanted to announce it so publicly, but I guess I might as well. I might as well just tell all of you who are watching this program. Farhana's son will be facilitating the entire program tomorrow. There's no need and no reason for me to be here because clearly he's far better at doing it than I will ever be.
Neil, I kid you not, I want to start like a group for kids because I understand how we parents condition our children and literally pretty much whip them to fall asleep before they get into a crisis situation like we have, and then they have to wake themselves up. But that's all I talk to him about is waking up, staying awake. I've made him pinky promise he won't fall asleep. And he comes up with this stuff. It's wild. Like I want to do this with children. This is one of my things. This is why I'm a children's book author, because this is so important to me.
Terrific, guys.
Thank you for your time, Neil.
No, we're totally out of time for tonight, but you're welcome to join me on Monday night if you wish, or at any future e-treat as well. And I've offered you what I have to offer without hoping to take sides, but to explain to each of you what I see is going on. Thanks for being here.
God bless you all. Thank you, Neil.
Yeah, you're welcome. Guys, we were supposed to end at 3 o'clock. We're a half hour overtime. And so I don't have any more moments unless I know there's only one more person with their hand up. I hate to close out with only one person left. Anita, is there something that's huge and lengthy, or can you make a short presentation? And then maybe we can pick up tomorrow morning where we leave off. Anita, are you there? And what is it that I can do to serve you, even though we're overtime by a half hour?
No, I think we can leave it for tomorrow, perhaps.
Are you okay with that?
Oh, fine. Yes, totally fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Then how about if we choose you first tomorrow? However it works out that your name comes up, I will make sure that Anita is our first call tomorrow. Where do you live?
Fine.
Where do you live, Anita?
I am in London.
You live in London?
England.
Yes, London, England. I understand. Okay, then at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, it'll be somewhere around what, 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, we will call on you first and make sure that you get into the program before you have to wait too long. Thank you, Anita.
All right. Thank you, Neil. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thanks all of you for being here. Thanks to Nicholas Walsh, for his a wonderful job producing this program. Thank you to Kathy Bolton for her wonderful music ministry. Okay, so we'll see you all at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning Pacific time at this very same place when we will continue with these extraordinary and exciting sharing and learning more and more and more about what makes relationship work according to Conversations with God. We'll see you then. Good night for now.